Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your man Jay Will, and we are back with another live stream. So today, finally, we're getting back in the groove. Got my special guest for today's stream. Obviously, he's here. MyProject13. You can say what's up to everybody.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back here on a live stream. I just wanted to say thank you, Jay, for inviting me on. It's been a while, but it's good to be here. So appreciate all of you that are coming in and hanging out with us for a little while. Looking forward to just chit-chatting with you on one of our favorite subjects in life, tech.
Yeah. So today we're going to discuss the latest device from OnePlus, the OnePlus Nord N200 5G. Now, I'm actually working on a video that I'm going to post after this live stream, so I'm going to reveal too much about how I feel about it, but that's what this is about. So I know a lot of people probably had questions about the OnePlus Nord N200 5G. So I decided, hey man, we need to link up. We need to talk about this, and let's schedule a stream so we can get everybody in on this, because a lot of people I think are getting this free. I got mine free. I traded in an old flip phone. How did you do you explain to me? Because if you haven't seen his video, you can talk about it in this video. How you got yours.
I just went into the store, and like Jay had told me in the video that I put up, he left a comment about being able to do it online, which you have an option to do that. I didn't have the patience for that, so I took one of my old devices, the Nokia Lumia 1520, a device that powered on. The display looked great, no defects, but hanging out with that phone for a little while, it would turn on and off. So it was time to give it up. Went over to T-Mobile, and there was really no catch to it. It was just taking that device, they plugged it in, pulled out the Nord, and that was it. That was it. $30 upgrade fee in store. But like Jay had said in that video, you can do it online and get that $30 waived. Now, that used to be $20. It's jumped to $30, which actually surprised me. So, but I was willing to do that. It was great. It's a great deal. So I'm super stoked on it.
I didn't know that they changed the upgrade fee to 30, because I don't do very many upgrades. But I didn't know that they changed it to 30. I didn't learn that until I watched your video. And so what I did is I did know about it was 20, because when you go into the store and every time I would question something, they would say, sometimes I'll just go into the store just to look for a device, and they want to get you to sell it, want you to buy it. So they'll start telling about this upgrade fee. And I just say no. And I learned that if you order through your account or online, it's totally waived. So I didn't learn about the $30 upgrade fee until you brought it up in your video. I didn't know that. So it's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal at all to pay the $30, especially if you're getting the phone for free. I'm totally with that. But I just chose I'm patient enough to wait and get it through my account and order. Not to say, that most people aren't impatient, but I have so many things to entertain me until it comes along. So I was like, you know what? I'm getting ready to just order through my account, so I don't have any problems with it. And I'm just going to do it like that. So I didn't pay anything for mine but $6 to have it shipped to me. Account, so I don't have any problems with it. I think you get some feedback on yours. I paid $6 for the shipping, and that's it, man. And it came in about 3 days, and it was totally worth it. So let's talk about a few things so if you don't know, again, I think this deal is available to Metro PCS too, right? It's available through Metro.
Right.
Yeah. So the phone costs $216 through T-Mobile. And we're going to talk about the bill credits, and we're going to talk about versus buying it unlocked. Now, unlocked, it costs $240, which is weird, but the way consumers can get it for a cheaper price through carriers, I actually talked about this in another stream, is a carrier, T-Mobile obviously ordered a whole bunch of these. So that's how they can discount the price, because they're still going to make the money. So buying the carrier versus the unlocked, some of you know, some of you don't know, but I've been with T-Mobile for going on 26 years. So they've always been like my primary carrier. So I have no intentions on switching. So back in the day, I used to be against bill credits, but for some situations, if it's free and it doesn't, like this didn't impact my bill in any kind of way. They put the credit on the account right away. They did that for you too, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's no impact. It's like I literally got this for free. And what I did, he traded in a good phone. I say I would have kept, but I mean, hey, I was a good phone you traded in. So, but I reached in my catalog and got one of my old flip phones. And it's not that it's old, but it was a flip phone. And it was actually my phone that I used. I use that phone when I go to games or events or somewhere where I'm afraid I might lose my phone. So that's where I'm gonna have to grab another one, but it was totally worth it. I traded that phone in, shipped it off, and I had the credits on my account right away. So if you're gonna do bill credits, to me it's worth it if you are not going to if it's not going to impact your bill.
Right, right.
That's when I think it's worth it. So hopefully, here's another Android stuff. So he traded in a flip phone, which is great, and he got it for $30, basically $22 with the taxes and $6 for the shipping. That's fantastic. This is a win if you're a T-Mobile customer. Now let's talk about the hardware. How do you like the hardware on yours?
Now, I like it. I think it's. I mean, if you tap the back a little bit, you know you can.
Mine is pretty solid.
But it's pretty solid.
Yeah,
So
mine. I think mine's pretty solid.
and it kind of has a little bit of a concave back, and I think that's what's nice, because if that would have been straight across, you might have felt that hollowness.
Yeah.
But because they gave it a nice it's a beautiful device. It feels solid. You would never think by holding this up and looking at it that it was only $216.
I know, incredible. Here's another person that traded in an old Stylo, LG Stylo 4. Again, any of these trade-ins, man, and he said it best, this is a sleeper phone of 2021. So for me, hardware is pretty solid, man. It's tight along the bottom, and then I get to the center. That's when it sounds a little hollow. But other than that, it's super solid. And
Yeah.
the way it looks, like the side-mounted fingerprint reader, the brushed blue look, the frosted back, we're talking about high-end devices that offer these same qualities for what, $800 more. So the hardware for me is a good size. I like the size of the phone. I still haven't gotten my OtterBox, man. I made a mistake by ordering my OtterBox. I could have got it from T-Mobile. I count pennies though, man. I count pennies. T-Mobile had it for $23 and OtterBox had it for $20. So I ordered from OtterBox and I still don't have it. I could have gotten it from OtterBox. I could have gotten it from T-Mobile and had it in 2 days. But I ordered way back when I got the phone. The day that I got the phone in, I ordered it, and some will say I'm cheap. My wife always says I'm cheap, but I'm like, that's $3. Okay, that's $3 that I saved. So good patience, man. I still don't have my OtterBox yet for this phone, but I ordered the OtterBox case for mine.
That's not cheap. That's just smart buying. That's just
I'm always looking for the best deal. So he's got a video up on his case right now. And I checked it out. I won't spoil it for you, so be sure to hit his channel and check out his case that he's got for his. But I ordered the OtterBox because I plan on buying no more cases for this device. When I get something free, I'm willing to go ahead and invest the money into it. Now, the OtterBox case costs $30, but I had a $10 code, and I got it for $19. And T-Mobile has the OtterBox case for $23 on sale. They have it for $6 off. So OtterBox for this phone, I think is going to be a huge win. It's a clean, minimalistic look, and it's going to give you the protection and everything. So money saved is money saved.
Right.
There it is right there, our dog. That's right. $3 is $3 nowadays. So hardware for me, I give this about an 8.5, man. How would you
I would literally give it that right there. I mean,
8.5, yeah.
When you go back a few years ago, and you remember how excited we were about the Samsung Galaxy J7.
Oh, yeah.
A phenomenal device, phenomenal display. For the price that was, I can't remember the price, but it was just an amazing buy.
It was about 200, I believe, 159 or something like that.
And I think it was way ahead of its time as a lower end smartphone. Yeah. It just gave you, when you look at this, you do not see budget at all.
Oh no!
Now, obviously, we're not talking about the cameras or anything right now.
Yeah.
But as far as hardware and how good it feels in hand, this is a solid budget phone aesthetically. It just is. You can't go wrong with this. And of course, we're going to talk about who this phone is for and who it's not. But really, it should be for everybody as something, just because of how you can get it, right?
Yeah. So the one dislike I have on the hardware, and the reason I'm giving it an 8.5 is for this reason right here. I don't like the slippery sides along the edges, and I don't like the shiny sides. And you're probably saying, well, Jay, you're knocking off 1.5 for that. That's a huge thing for me because sometimes I don't like to use a case. And so when I'm holding this, I want to be able to, have a good grip on the sides, and a metal side or a matte side. I don't care about having a plastic phone. I take a plastic phone any day. Right. But the sides were kind of one of the reasons that I gave it a 0.5 off for the hardware. The other 1 point that I took off is for something else, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So,
and I think I know what you're talking about. Like I'm on the stream with my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and on
Yeah.
the sides it's a little slippery, but
Yes.
because it's got those sharp edges, because it's a
Yep.
flat, it's easier to hold in the palm of your hand and not feel like it's going to slip out of your hand.
Right. That's correct. So the next thing on the topic of this device right here, they gave it a 10. It's an upgrade from the N100. So I had the N100. I got rid of it. It was a good phone, but I felt like I wouldn't use it as much because I had the OnePlus 7 Pro at the time, I believe, or the OnePlus 8T is what I had. So this is an upgrade. It's about 4 to 5 things that are different from the 100 to the 200, and it's totally worth it when you think about it, because the 100 I think was 180, and this is technically 240 technically. But this has a screen on it that is absolutely beautiful to me. Some people argue that the screen is not the best in the world, but I don't like it better than my TCL devices. However, this is a fantastic display for the price. The 1080p 6.5 inches basically is phenomenal to me. I love watching content on this thing. So when it comes to the screen, how do you rank the screen? I give the screen about an 8.5 as well. I think it's a great screen.
I would either give it that or a 9. I really don't have. It's got a flat display, which obviously when it comes to screen protectors, you're going to have an easy time with that.
That's
But
correct.
I've already watched a few movies on this, and I get submerged into what I'm watching. And so for me, yeah, it's close to a 10. I at
Oh, yeah.
1080, even though it is it's not an AMOLED display.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is an IPS LCD.
Yeah.
And my thing in the past, I've always had some issues. Not always. I've had a high percentage of issues with IPS LCD displays with screen bleed and light leaks. Now, I downloaded an app that checks for that. I checked for that in the dark room. There's no light leaks. There's no screen bleed. And when I'm watching movies, whether it's in a dark scene or a lit scene, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I have no complaints. And AMOLED is always going to be way up here. And if you're coming off an AMOLED to an IPS, can you see some significant difference? Not really. I mean, yes, you can.
Yeah.
But
Well, AMOLED you can, but
you
overall,
start to enjoy what you got as you get submerged in what you're watching. And so, in other words, if your mind can leave that and get submerged into your watching, then there's no issue.
So our BG Tech Life and MyProject13, Anthony, I feel weird calling you MyProject13, but Anthony has the 7 Pro right behind him. Now he's watching on the 7 Pro. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be better than the 7 Pro. The 7 Pro is a beast of a screen. That is a beast of a device. So when you ask the question, is it better than old flagships? It's definitely better than some old flagships, but not the OnePlus 7 Pro when it comes to the screen. Because some of the older flagships, while it may have a quad display or a 1080p or whatever, this is a high quality display from 2021, or at least probably from the least. This display might be from 3 years ago, maybe. We don't know exactly what display they're using, but with the software and the way this combination of it is put together with the processor, I mean, it's a fantastic display. It gets kind of bright outside, but not too bright. So I overall, the display, I rank it at an 8.5, but the 7 Pro is definitely the better of the two when it comes to the display. Now, and if you have a question, just like BG, post it down below, man. I will answer them. We're going to try to stream for another 15, 20 minutes or so. Get you a solid stream in for a good 30, 45 minutes. But the next thing I want to talk about is the cameras. First, you're the invited guest. So how do you feel about the cameras?
I think that it's not a deal breaker for what I'm getting here, but I think the only thing that I wish would have been here is that 60 frames per second. I don't mind the 4K not being there. 1080p, 720p on both the front and back at 30 frames per second. Daytime video and pictures look really good, really good. They're doable. They're more than doable. At night, you know me, I do early morning vlogs. So I'm shooting video in the car, and it's dark out, and it's doable. But it would have been nice to at least on the rear have that 60 frame per second.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking about a phone that you can either walk out basically for free or an upgrade or maybe a few tax dollars. And the feedback that I've gotten off my early morning vlogs, people understand for what you're paying, what you're getting, it's very doable. So I mean, at the end of the day, if I would have had to spend $216, I would have wanted the 60 frames per second.
But
it's doable. I
feel like the camera,
because you like to rate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for what I got here and how I got it, I'm going to give it about a 6.57.
Gotcha, for the cameras. Now, I personally rank the cameras at about an 8.5 again, because realistically, I don't think, and I appreciate you showing those night videos, but most of the time and night footage, I personally do not do anything at night. And I mean, if I do, I have a flash on. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost for me impossible to rank this phone really, really low. And this isn't a reflection on you, or like, but because some people think it's a bad phone. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, this is
No,
a
it's
great
not.
phone, because we're going to give our overall as well. So I'm going to give my overall. He'll give his overall. And I want to hear from the people that actually have the Nord N200 in the comments. But for me personally, I rank these cameras still at a roughly a 8.5. I mean,
Okay.
their daytime shots best some of their, like, if you haven't done it, just take photos with your Nord next to your N200 next to your OnePlus 7 Pro, or your whoever, to everybody out there who has this device and another OnePlus device. Like, people slam the OnePlus 9 Pro's cameras. These cameras are great, man. All cameras have to have that right setting. And to me, for $216 that I didn't pay for free, these cameras, it's not even if I would have paid the $216, because really I would have paid $240, because I would have bought the unlocked version. But if I would have paid $240 for this, let me answer this question, because some people are going to ask, are these cameras worth $240? Yes, they are. For me, they are.
Okay.
I'm ranking them at an 8.5 because the processing time for some of the camera photos is a lot slower. And it's just what it is. And the fact the cameras don't have 60 frames per second, like you just said, and don't have 4K, that's a huge issue for me. But more importantly, like you said, the 60 frames per second is really important to me. So with them not having 60 frames per second, I got to bump the cameras down. And then the processing time isn't as fast as I would like it to be. But when those photos post, phenomenal to me. So, I give it about an 8.5 for the cameras. There's no wrong answer. And if you have this in the comment section, please tell me how you rank these with us. Rank these with us while we're talking about it, because this phone is great. Even if I would have paid $240, it would have been so worth it still for these cameras, man. But not having 60 frames per second, like you said, Anthony, that's a big deal to me. That's a big deal to me.
And I want to add one more thing. I think too, the nightscape.
Oh yeah,
Taking pictures, it's a little grainy, grainy. So I mean, I think for what you just said, I totally agree, and I could bump up my 7 to a 7.5.
Yeah.
But I think because of the 60 frames and that rainy nightscape shots,
yeah,
I think that's where I'm going to keep mine at a 7.
Yeah, that's a huge
We're still
deal.
talking about a high number there.
Oh yeah.
Again, for a phone, like
it's $240. It's $240. Yeah. It's a great deal. So you got a question here, Anthony. You got a question here. Is the phone better than the N10? I think what they're asking is the N10 5G, the Nord N10. I think that might be what that question is from B. Might be his spell check might have come through, but I think this phone is just a little under the N10 5G, because the processing power on the N10 5G is a lot It's a lot speedier. So, and we're going to get to that too. But to answer you directly, I think the N10 5G is the better of the two, because I have them both. So I see a question here from Art Dog. I don't want to spoil it, but I will say roughly the TCL20 is what I prefer over this phone. And that's about as cut and dry as I can tell you. My TCL20 is somewhere over there, but I do prefer the TCL20 over this device for a few reasons, but I won't spoil it in this video. So if you're watching a live stream, you already know what I'm going to say at the end of that video that I'm working on for that. So yes, Our Dog, I do recommend the TCL20 S over the Nord N200, but I've got good reason to do so. I don't want to spoil it. So what do you think about performance? What do you think about performance?
I'm happy with performance. I have no issues with the performance. I get a little bit of a hiccup when I go into my Google News. But outside of that, honestly, Jay, I've been using this phone since I picked it up. Okay. Yeah. I always have another phone in my other pocket, but my T-Mobile SIM is in this phone.
That's correct.
And I have literally forgotten that at times that I'm even on this phone. I'm just using it, phone calls, texting, going through and doing some web browsing, watching videos, and I have nothing. It's close to perfect almost for what it is.
Yeah.
I would have to say because of the couple hiccups, I'm going to say 9.5.
Yeah, yeah,
And I had a comment in one of my videos that said, turn up the animations
oh yeah,
in depth. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So in developer options, if you turn up the animations, that could smooth that out even a little bit
yeah.
more. So
I think for me, performance has been unexpectedly. I'd expect. See, what happened is, I expected this to flow like the N10 5G OnePlus because that's the cheapest one the most. That's the most affordable one that I purchased from OnePlus. And I do like the performance of the N10 5G better. It's a little bit more speedy, but it's this processor. This processor in this phone has 4 gigs of RAM, and the processor. What is it? The 460 to 480, I think, is in this one.
480, yeah, 480.
It's just for me, it's been bogged down a little bit, and I'm going to talk about that again. Don't want to spoil it too much, but it's just been bogged down for me more than I expected it to be. I thought, okay, this is stock Android; it's going to be flowing, and it flows, but I find myself having to clear out the memory a lot, and not
Okay.
when I say a lot, I mean 2 to 3 times in a day, a 24-hour
Okay.
period. That's kind of a lot for me because normally I will leave things in the memory. But I found that we're going to get to battery. We're going to get to battery, Ant. I found that the performance is about a 7.5 for me because remember, performance is going to go on what apps you have on your phone, how you're using your. There's a whole bunch that goes into performance.
I
Your
was just going to
network,
say that. I was just going
yeah,
to say.
your network has to be strong. There's a bunch. And that leans into battery, but there's a whole bunch of things that are going to bog down your device if it's working in the background. So, yeah, I definitely would give it about a 7.5 for performance. And we'll jump over to battery real quick. I want to get a question here from someone. I think I saw it in here. Oh, there's a statement about the speaker. I think the speaker is fantastic. It has a single speaker, but it's pretty good. It's nice and loud. And here's a question from this person says, in your opinion, OnePlus Nord N200 is it better than the iPhone 11? See, again, these questions like this, it's going to depend on it depends on what operating system you're using. We're talking about Android versus iOS in that conversation, and I can't have that conversation here because it really there's no right answer to that or wrong answer, but that's going to lead in a direction that if you ask for another Android device, then sure, I can tell you whether it's worth it or not. But iOS devices use less RAM and it's optimized off of their hardware. Android is open source, so you can put Android on a ring if you can find someone to make the hardware for it. So that's what hurts Android. But I don't want to get into the Android iOS conversation, not on this video. But battery life is what we're going to talk about next. So my battery life, and I'll let you go. I'll start this one since you started the others. My battery life has actually been ridiculous. I mean, what do we have? A 5,000, right? 5,000.
5,000 milliamp battery.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, and this is where the processor actually kills. It's in a good way because if you get these processors that are very efficient, you get fantastic battery life. But again, battery life depends on how many apps you have on your phone, how you're using your phone. The signal strength is a huge. Some people just don't get this, but the signal strength on your device has to be really strong for your device not to work in the background, to pull and work to try to get the best signal, because that is one of the big battery killers that some people just don't talk about. When you watch a review, the network is super strong. And since I have the T-Mobile version, T-Mobile's coverage is fairly good. I mean, the I have a spot where I travel once a week or so, and it's about a 40-minute drop out in service for AT&T and T-Mobile. So I carry my Verizon phone with me during that area. But overall, when I'm in an area I'm talking about like backwoods, like nobody really has service out there. But overall, the connectivity on this thing is great, which means I'm getting great battery. And then if you're at home, I suggest you just connect to your Wi-Fi. You can turn on Wi-Fi calling. But for me, the 5,000 milliamp hour battery has proven I've grabbed easily 8 hours. When you want to measure screen on time, I don't like to measure battery by screen on time. I like to measure battery by how long I'm off the charger and if it's there for me when I need it. Like if I'm going 3 days with 4.5 hours screen on time, to me, that's fantastic battery. And with this phone, I can easily go 3 to 4 days and get about 4 hours of screen on time, if you will. But I'm off the charger if I need to be. And I don't like to be on the charger. So if I needed to go a weekend with this phone, I think I probably could do it. I might be able to get 2 hours, 3, 4 hours, maybe tops. But the battery life for me is strong. It's good. How is yours? And I get the
I,
battery about, and again, eight
yeah,
point five. I get the battery about 8.5, I guess.
I got to give it an 8.5 to a 9. I mean, if you go by screen on time, and again, like you said, I mean, there's so many variables that are attached to that conversation. I'm doing 7 hours, 6.5 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, on the average, my thing is I plug in at night, wake up in the morning, unplug. Can I let it sit there and not charge it? Yeah, I can do that, like you do, and I'm sure I'm going to wake up the next morning and I'm going to be.
yeah, I
You know
hear
what I'm
you.
saying? But I'm doing that. I
Yeah,
got this hugging in and then unplugging in the morning, and then I'm using it throughout the day, and I'm coming away with that 6.5, 7, seven
gotcha.
and a half. So basically, it's a device that I don't need to worry about. I don't need to look at that
Right.
as I'm going through the reviewing process. I'm now at a point where that's not an area I have to be concerned about. I
Yeah.
don't have to look over and think, okay, am I going to have to plug it in for 20 minutes on my way home to make sure I make it through the day? No,
Right.
if I wanted to use this and then set it down on my nightstand and wake up in the morning, I could start to use it throughout the day and maybe have to plug in throughout the middle of the day somewhere for a little bit. And again, you and I do different things on
Oh
these
yeah.
smartphones. So
Yeah.
you do videos where you're gaming, showing what gaming's. I don't do any gaming.
Right. Right.
I think my hardcore uh, use on a smartphone for me is when I do the editing process of the video.
That's actually probably more intense than gaming.
Yeah.
You're
So
really working that battery out on there, man.
yeah,
You're working it out, man. But I think yeah, 8.5 for me is solid on that battery because I would like to go longer, but I know it's so much coupled with that it's making me not get the best battery because the RAM is 4 gigs, which is enough on some phones, but for some reason, this is probably the OnePlus device that I think might have been the most sluggish for me. Why I don't know, but yeah, let's tackle this question right here, man. The question is from Rick Jameson. He says, "Do you think the OnePlus is better than the Galaxy S21 FE?" Now, when people ask questions like this, you got to remember this is my perspective on it. I don't suggest that you use this information to go buy whatever device. But what I will tell you is that I don't think the Galaxy S21 FE is better than this purchase right here because it costs what double the money and then some. And when you consider it, just value to consumer, I think this is better. Now, while the Galaxy S20 FE might perform a little better, yeah, but is it $300 better in performance? The answer is probably going to always be no, because when you're looking at consumers aren't looking at processing power when they buy a phone. They walk into a store, they say, "Oh, this looks cool. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I like the screen." No, they do things like that. Then they'll scan through it for a little bit, wait for themselves to be sold on it by the customer service rep. Unfortunately, that's about 99% of how stores go. They're just trying to sell you something and get you out of there. But when it comes to comparing these two, I would take this over the Galaxy S20 FE any day because it's half the price. It has great cameras, better battery. Remember, I bought the S20 FE at one point, I believe, and it's just a better experience for me of the two, even though the S20 is going to be a speedier device. Yeah, and the video cameras are a little bit better, but are they $350?
and I think what you just said right there is really the important part of the conversation.
Yeah,
Are they $300 better? And when you look at that
yeah,
and ask yourself, am I really going to need all that
yeah,
to pay $300 more?
yeah.
Most likely not.
No, you don't. Because I like to look at it myself as I know I do the reviews and stuff like that, but I always try to think about the consumer. I try to remember the basic person that's walking into a store that has no clue about buying these cell phones,
Yeah.
But again, it all comes down to what we're doing on our phones. And some people might get this phone and say, "Wow, this is incredible. This is one of the best phones I've ever had." And some people might a techie, like, it's hard for me not to tear this phone apart and pick it apart. But I feel like as a reviewer, and I'm trying to look out for the consumers, I'm supposed to tear it apart. I'm supposed to tell you things that the way it's affecting me, and if it's bad for me. You don't take those things and you run them and apply them to yourself. You just
Right.
listen to what we say, and if you feel like we're being honest, you run with it. If you don't, you go to the next video. That's kind of how the reviews work.
And I think what works great is having like two different perspectives and what you're sharing and what I'm sharing. And so you're just not hearing one perspective, you're hearing two, so that you can take that, put it into your homework, and then do your own. But I think
Yeah.
I think it's great when you can evaluate a smartphone like the N200 and have those two different perspectives. And when you walk away from this video and you kind of see that right now we're kind of there right along the same lines as far as how we're rating this phone. So I mean, that's good information right there.
Yeah.
If I'm watching this.
Yeah. So some questions have come up. I responded in the chat. It does not have wireless charging, and that's not a deal breaker for me.
Nope.
The charger that came in the box, I believe it's a 15 or 18 watt fast charger, but I have my 5 watt that I use for all of my OnePlus devices. So that's just how I do it. But yeah, Susan is asking a question here about rating. And this is just me being honest. If you just want to switch and get something else, totally your prerogative. But if your phone works and you don't have to spend money or anything like that, or if you, because you paid a lot more for that phone, you paid $500, I believe that phone cost, or $550 when it came out, possibly. And I would just hold on to it if you don't need a new phone. But if you want a new phone, I can't tell you if something is worth something. You need to, when people ask questions about worth, sometimes it's very difficult to answer that question because you're taking into consideration, you know, you want to basically have me justify why you're getting ready to do it. And that's why I try to avoid saying worth on things. That's kind of why I started my YouTube channel, because I feel like I got duped. I've told this story many times. I felt like I got duped. I felt like this guy said it was great, and I was like, what the heck? And it's horrible, you know. So worth is going to depend on you walking into that store and trying to determine whether or not you think it's worth it in the short period of time. So I have to sometimes jump out and just buy it for yourself. I mean,
You're cutting out, Jay.
I bet I am. I can see my strength up there. How would you tackle that question?
I honestly, you know, I've had questions in the comment section with some of the videos asking me, "Hey, I have this phone. I watched this video. Do you think I should do this, this, and that?" And I ask, "Well, what's your reasoning on what? Give me a few reasons why you may want to get rid of what you got, and you know, in comparison to what this phone may have, and why you think it's going to be better." And then I sort of just lay out the facts, the specs, and my thoughts on it, and my opinions on it. And a lot of the times I get this, you know what? I think I'm going to keep what I have. Because now they're just reading or, you know, my opinion and just laying out some spec facts. I'm not telling them what to do because I would never do that. And I think once they get that logical perspective, they're kind of like, So no, I would never tell you, like in this comment with the SE, the 10 SE. Well, first of all, I've never had the phone. But you have to ask yourself, why would you want it? Like you said, unless you just need something new. I mean, is everything working on it? Is everything fine on it? Or is it just because you're intrigued? I don't know. Like you did. Find a flip phone and go trade it in and get it. Ask your neighbor for a flip phone. They got some. There's got to be someone that you know that has one sitting in a drawer somewhere, because, you know, I don't know what your reasoning on why you want to, unless there's something wrong with it. I don't know. But from what I've seen and heard on the 10e, or what is it, the S10 whatever, that it's not a bad phone. So, but I've never had that phone, so I couldn't give you a really clear opinion on that. But
So the last thing I guess we can cover here is because it looks like I'm starting to have some connection issues for some. Just so you know, super frustrating.
I have an extra flip phone.
Right. Side note here. All these connection issues that I've been having lately, hopefully they'll be resolved after the stream, because I've got a technician coming out, and I found out why I'm having these connection issues. So hopefully we can get that resolved. But I just want to say thanks for coming on, Pete, man, for kicking it with us for a little bit. I just feel like this phone is totally worth it.
Yeah,
it's totally. I mean, and I know I just said I can't tell you it's worth it, but for me and my experience, this phone's totally worth it. Even though it was free to us, if it wasn't free, then it would still be totally worth it for me. That's what I say. $240, totally worth it.
Yeah, I was already interested in the phone to begin with. I just happened to run across the deal when I said, okay, I'm going to do it right now. You know what I'm saying? So I passed up on the 100. I passed up on the N10, and when I heard this was coming out, it was already on my. I was already targeting it, and I just happened to see the deal, and I was like, well, even better. So there it was, and I have no regrets. And that's gonna be my thing. It's gonna be yes. It's a thumbs up. It's worth it.
Yeah,
But
same
again,
here.
that's my opinion. So
Yeah, yeah, same here. Same here. I think it's totally worth it. So, before I slam you guys with a horrible connection here for the rest of the stream, we're gonna end on a high note, man. You'll be look forward to some things coming with me and Anthony in the future, man. Hopefully, we can get some things set up to where we can meet with you guys more regularly. I'll just leave it at that.
yeah.
Anthony, you can go ahead and close out, man.
Hey, I just want to say thank you for coming on. It's been a while for me to do a live stream, and thank you, Jay, for encouraging me to come back on and do this. Was I nervous? Yes. Is it hard to think of answers on the spot? It sure is. But I feel like at some point I had to come back and do this, and this was a good way to break into it. So again, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it very much, and just stay tuned for more. Jay and I are going to talk, and we'll see what we can bring you, as a combo doing these live streams. And stay tuned for more here on Team MyProject13. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is gonna be great, folks. So hopefully we have a good run here. I'll try to sort things out on my side with this. Can't. Offline, you guys know. Offline, you guys know why I'm having these. I've been kind of chatting in my private group about these stupid connection problems. But I hope I can get that resolved and bring you some good content because I really enjoy going live again. I'm getting into it again, and the support of you guys has been fantastic. Working with me through these horrible times from having all these problems. But nonetheless, thanks for coming in. We'll see you guys on the next live stream. We'll see you later. Take care,
God
guys.
bless. Peace.